It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 5 films released on September 11th, 2009. And wide assortment of movies that we have here this week. Tyler Perry's got a brand new movie. We have a new CG animated movie from Focus Features. We have a horror movie from Dark Castle Entertainment. We have a documentary about Walt Disney going down to South America during World War II, and then we have a remake of a horror classic. And okay, it's not really much of a wide assortment, but there is a assortment of different genres. I'll say that, but. Let's just go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that's the latest from Tyler Perry, I Can Do Bad All By Myself.
Everybody that loves you in your life, you push them away. Why do you do this?
I messed everything up. I gotta fix this. We gonna get through this, okay?
Talk to me like that one more time. Honey, I've been to jail. I'll shank you, fool. Shank you.
'Cause I can do bad all by myself.
Which is funny because that's what most people think of Tyler Perry's movies. Like, that's probably what he thinks to himself. I can do bad all by myself. Okay, maybe I don't know if there's certainly a number of people that would think that, but I think some people would probably think that overall. But believe it or not, this is actually one of his better movies overall. And yeah, Medea is in here, but she's not in this movie for very long. In fact, she's only in there in the beginning of the movie, and that's about it. After, like, the first 5-10 minutes, you don't see her again in this movie. The main focus of the film is that you have a story here about an alcoholic lounge singer played by Taraji P. Henson, who is persuaded to take the custody of her niece and nephews by Medea after she catches them breaking into her house, and their grandmother has gone missing. Now, believe it or not, there is a play based off of this that's Tyler Perry based this off of, but the film is not a straightforward adaptation of the story. It's basically kind of an original story in general, and like I said, it's one of the better ones. Like, I'm not really a Tyler Perry person, but this is one of those ones where I watched it and I was just kind of like, this is what I'm actually liking here. This is one where it doesn't fall into lousy cliches like The Family That Prays or stupid stuff like Temptation or some of his later movies in general, but this is a movie where you do get invested in the characters overall. I mean, it helps that Taraji P. Henson is at the forefront of this. She's somebody that anytime she's in a movie, I'm right there because she's such a great actress, and she plays this very well. I mean, she's very good in the role here of April. You have great performances by Ana Rodriguez as her love interest. Mary J. Blige has a good little role here. Gladys Knight. You know, the characters in here are very enjoyable to watch. Sometimes the jokes can work, sometimes not so much. But the story overall keeps you invested, and the actors overall keep you invested in it as well. It's not a great movie overall, but it certainly is one of the better Tyler Perry movies overall. It's definitely one of those films where even somebody like me who's not a big Tyler Perry fan would even go as far as to say, it's one definitely worth checking out, because it actually is worth it overall. Yeah, definitely one you want to check out. I Could Do Bad All By Myself. Well, in this case, Tyler Perry, you didn't do bad. You did pretty good, for the most part. But, anyway, with that said, let's go ahead and get to probably my overall favorite film of the week. And it's a film that kind of came and went because as soon as it was out in theaters, most people forgot about it shortly afterward. But it's really one you want to check out. It's a movie called 9.
Such potential, such promise. Life must go on.
We can't do this without you.
You shall protect the future. Rated PG-13.
So based off of a short film by the director of this, Shane Acker, the story follows a ragdoll labeled 9, voiced by Elijah Wood, who awakens shortly after the end of humanity following the uprising of machines in this alternate version of the 1940s. And he comes across all these other characters played by John C. Reilly, Jennifer Connelly, Christopher Plummer, Crispin Glover, Martin Landau, and Fred Tatasciore. The last one you know is the voice of the Hulk in the Marvel animated series. But yeah, this is a movie that kind of came and went when it came out. It did very well. It was a movie that made $48 million over its $30 million budget, so it was a hit. It did receive good reviews from critics, and, you know, it was a film that, like I said, came out, nobody really talked about it after 2009, and the only time it ever was brought up was when the Nostalgia Critic did a review for it a couple of years ago, But really, it's a really damn good movie. Like, it's a movie where it brings you flashbacks of something like The Secret of Nim. Some, these darker movies these darker animated movies intended for kids, where there is more to it. And, you get through, you go through a lot of trials and tribulations. You go through a lot of moments where people are getting killed. Characters you're used to, you're getting invested in, are killed off in very effed up ways. And yeah, that happens in this movie a lot in here. But that's part of the direction of where they're going with it. I thought it actually worked very well. The animation is very good. I mean, this is a film that has a lot of really good animation overall. Some really good CG animation. The voice work is very good. The storyline is very interesting and very well done. Some people say the twist you can see kind of coming a mile away. And watching it again, I'll admit that, yeah, you can kind of see where it would go in some way, shape, or form. But the first time you see it, it really is something that does take you back a little bit. But then when you put it all together, it's just like, yeah, this makes a whole lot of sense of where the direction this is going. But it doesn't take away from the movie overall. And I think it is one of the more underrated movies that came out this year, in a very strong year of animated movies. And we're going to get to one next week that is one of the best animated movies of the year. And it's a shame that didn't get nominated for an Oscar. But this one probably should have gotten one too. And like I said, I like it because it took me back to old school 80s animation, like where it could be dark and it could be for kids, but you're gonna have to deal with the dark stuff before you get to the light side of things. Like, it's like a Don Bluth movie in a way, but this is one where it's definitely one worth checking out. It's a film that did not get the proper attention it did get the proper attention when it was released, but since then it's been largely forgotten. But it's definitely one that I feel like deserves another reappreciation of it over time. And it's not even the last movie that has the title of 9 that is really good that came out this year. We'll get to that one at the very end of the year. And like this movie, very underappreciated ahead in its time, and one that definitely deserves a rewatch. But again, we'll save that for Christmas time. But yeah, this movie you should definitely check out. 9 is really good. So with that said, let us go ahead and move on to our next movie, and that is the remake of Sorority Row.
The hottest girls are all Theta Pi.
I love you because you're so real. That's just because you can't afford fake ones.
The B sisters
I saw what you did.
have a secret
I keep thinking about Megan. We killed her. Seriously, grow a pair.
that just
Someone knows.
won't
Megan.
die.
She's dead.
Sorority Row.
Don't think I'm afraid of you. I run a house with 50 crazy...
Rated R, September 11th.
Yeah, you should probably know not to fuck around with a Princess Leia with a goddamn shotgun like that. I mean, that's something that you should have that once you see that, it's just like, okay, I gotta get the hell out of here. I gotta figure out another way out of here, another way to do this. But this is, of course, a remake of the 1982 horror film The House on Sorority Row, and features some notable names at the time, some great young actresses, Brianna Evigan, who was in the Step Up to the Streets, Leah Pipes, Rumor Willis, Bruce Willis and Demi Moore's daughter, Jamie Chung from Sucker Punch and Dragon Ball Evolution. This one's certainly a lot better, but not that much. Margot Harshman, Audrina Patrick from The Hills, Carrie Fisher, I mentioned already. And this is, of course, a film where a group of sorority sisters who cover up the accidental death of a fellow sister after a prank goes horribly wrong. 8 months later, a mass killer begins stalking and murdering the girls on the night of the graduation for their role in the cover-up. So it's basically just The House on Sorority Row meets I Know What You Did Last Summer meets every other slasher movie you've ever seen in your life. Because that's literally what the movie is. There's nothing about this movie that really distinguishes it from any other slasher movie out there. And because of that, the film really does suffer big time. The actresses overall are doing the best they can to make this work, and it certainly is a lot better than some of the more just downright terrible horror remakes at the time that we're going to get to later on, like the 2019 Black Christmas remake, which is completely goes against everything that the original film was trying to do in terms of the social message and all that. Like, yeah, this movie doesn't really distance itself from other movies similar to it, but at least it's better than some bad horror remakes that were coming out around this time, like the aforementioned 2019 Black Christmas, or the year before that, we had that Prom Night remake, or even what's coming up a month after this with the Stepfather remake. I mean, it's one of the better ones of those, but even then, it's still something that I wouldn't say you should go out and see. I mean, even if you want to see the best stuff of the movie, that's what the internet is for. But other than that, though, yeah, it's not worth it to go check out. I mean, there's certainly other better things you could be watching besides Sorority Row. Certainly not our next movie, which is Kate Beckinsale starring in yet another Dark Castle Entertainment movie. I guess they were going out of business at this time because 2009 had a ton of their movies, and most of them were not that good. Case in point, Whiteout.
In the coldest place on earth,
A storm can kill you in less than 5 minutes. All of this, brother,
The virus now. Somebody got a body on the house.
nature isn't the only thing to fear.
We haven't got them.
The radar went off the chart. We see something big.
Oh my God. We're not gonna make it.
Second sale. Whiteout is ours. Your last breath Friday.
So once again, let's just combine all these different things. Let's combine the Thing, let's combine the Fog, let's combine the Mist, let's combine a little bit of 30 Days of Night, and let's also throw in a little bit of a crime thriller aspect in here. And yeah, like I said, this is one of those movies where Dark Castle Entertainment was behind it. And I don't know what was going on at the time because there was a ton of these movies coming out from them. And I guess they were going through bankruptcy or something like that, or so, I don't know. But there was a lot of the movies that they were putting out, and not a lot of them were very good. This film is set in Antarctica, where you have a deputy U.S. Marshal, played by Kate Beckinsale, who's planning to leave in a few days. And after finding a dead body, Stetko, that's her character's name, is attacked by a mass killer who is trying to get a hold of the cargo in an old Soviet plane that crash-landed in the ice during the Cold War. So it's not even a horror movie, and yet it still finds ways to combine elements of the Fog and the Thing and the Mist. But no, it's a crime thriller, and it's one of those movies where I went into it thinking to myself, you know, there's a possibility for something really good in here, but then you watch it and it's just kind of like, yeah, it just goes down the predictable route that you think it's going to go down. It is a very formulaic thriller that really doesn't have a whole lot there. And, you know, I'm a guy that likes a movie that takes place in the snow. There's just something about watching a movie with white snow on the ground, and you get in a big movie theater, and you feel like it's cold, you feel like there's a chill in the air. You know, I'm like Elsa from Frozen. The cold never bothers me anyway, and I like cold weather, so this should be right up my alley, and yet it just doesn't work here. And it doesn't work because it's a lame brain story. It's a film that really does not feel like it should be this bland and forgettable. Even the person who wrote the graphic novel this is based off of said that even that they thought it was a very different movie that didn't work its way as they wanted to. He said that comic Carrie and one-act play Carrie would shake movie Carrie down behind the bleachers, laugh her out of the You Share Our Name club, and send her limping and muling home to Mother, and they wouldn't feel a moment's regret about doing it either. I mean, that's how much he did not enjoy this portrayal of the movie overall. So this isn't like another Alan Moore where, you know, he hates any adaptation, even the good adaptations of his work. No, this is a guy that really thought they were going to do something good out of his property, and no, they just didn't work at all. And again, not written by hacks at all, not made by hack people at all. I mean, the writers of this two of the writers are the writers who gave us The Conjuring. John Hober and Eric Hober wrote Red. Dominic Sena has directed some good action movies. Gone in 60 Seconds was a good action movie. I mean, there's been a lot of good stuff that a lot of these people have been involved in. Swordfish, California. So yeah, these are not made by hacked people at all, but it just falls into bland, predictable, formulaic territory we've seen done to death before already, and you can't really do that with a movie like this. You got to have something more than that, and it just isn't in here. So yeah, as you can probably tell, I would tell you to skip Whiteout. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie that we have here, and that is the Disney documentary Walt El Grupo.
That was the purpose of the Goodwill Tour, to try to sell the United States to South America.
I'm sorry, Walt El Grupo. I got the pronunciation of the last word wrong, but I mean, most people use the phrase El Guapo, so that's what I thought it was. But no, it's Walt El Grupo, and in Walt El Grupo, this is a presentation of the Walt Disney Family Foundation films that tells the story of Walt Disney's 1941 U.S. government-sponsored trip to Latin and South America, where he and a group of artists gathered material which were used to create the two Disney animated features, Saludos Amigos and The Three Caballeros, which are the films that kind of came in between Bambi and Cinderella that kind of helped the studio when, some of the animators went to work and went to war during World War II. I mean, a lot of animation studios back then had animators that were going to war and, working for the government at the time. So yeah, this is one of those stories where you don't really think there's a whole lot to it, and watching it, it was one of those ones where it's just like, I don't really see the purpose overall of doing a film like this to just show that here's Walt and his animators working on inspirations for their 2 movies that came out in the 40s, because that really is what it is. But there is kind of a fascination to it, and kind of a fascination to what Disney was doing around the time with a couple of these documentaries that were coming out, because we had this one, we had the one with the Sherman Brothers that came out shortly afterward, and then we had the best one of the bunch, which was Waking Sleeping Beauty. So this is kind of a precursor to what Disney Plus would eventually become, because this is still like 10 years away from what Disney Plus would be doing with like documentaries, with all these different things about the Disney studios and all, and this kind of gives you a sneak preview of what's to come from that. And I think this director, if I'm not mistaken, he did he do Frank and Ollie? Yeah, he did Frank and Ollie, which was another really good Disney documentary that came out in the 1990s. And, this is a really good movie. It's a movie where, you watch it and you just kind of feel like this really should not be doing a whole lot, because the story overall really isn't all that engaging or interesting, but they do a pretty good job of keeping you invested and watching these animators getting inspiration for what they would later use for the Three Caballeros and Saludos Amigos. So, I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag movie. If you go into it knowing what you're going into, I think you can go into it and kind of enjoy it for what it is. But I'm not going to say that that general casual Disney fans should look at this movie and watch it overall and probably get something out of it. This is like for the hardcore Disney lovers. I think they would really get invested in how they found all this inspiration for Amigos and Caballeros. And I guess for that, it's kind of worth it on that level. I mean, it's one I'd say, it's definitely check it out. Walt El Grupo. And so, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, we've got 4 movies to look at. Another good week of movies with only one real misfire here. We have Sony Pictures Animation's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which was really their big game-changing movie that put them on the map, and also put the directors on the map of that, and we'll talk more about that next time. We also have Steven Soderbergh's latest film with Matt Damon in it, The Informant, Jennifer Aniston and Aaron Eckhart starring in the romantic drama Love Happens, and Megan Fox starring in the criminally underrated Jennifer's Body from Diablo Cody and Karen Kuriyama, and also starring Amanda Seyfried. We'll talk about those 4 movies, all that coming up tomorrow on this show, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and hit that playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, the notification button, and the bell. That's where you get updates on when new videos come out, and we do post new videos here every day. So, with all that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.